name is Ranikia Allen, and this is a small PSA on energy harvesting. George, man, please excuse me for the glare. I'm not an actress. I don't know anything about lighting. Energy energy harvesting. Don't mind me. I just laugh at everything. What is energy harvesting? Energy harvesting is a spiritualistic ritual practice of basically taking the vitality and the life force out of another human being. And when I say vitality and life force, it's basically like somebody sucking the soul out of you. Now, the concept of the soul, it depends on who you are and what you believe in. If you believe in the concept of we have souls here, or if you believe in science, in a scientific sense, it's more so of somebody taking the nutrients out of you, the vitality out of you, physically, if that makes sense. But we're talking about energy harvesting here more so in the spiritual sense. Okay? So it's energy harvesting, it's taking the vitality out of your body, taking the life force, or slowly taking the soul out of you, slowly taking the energy of the soul out of you in order to use for uh, ritualistic purposes. Okay, uh, what is its purpose? The same thing that I just said is to power up rituals. It's to feed entities, jinn, demons, Obi-Kai, Omni, anything of that nature. This is all to power up either the entity that the person has called up on for the spell, or to power up the spiritual energy that the person uses in order to manifest and things like that. So energy harvesting can be used for so many different reasons, but it's mostly taking somebody's life force in order to power up a spell, a demon, an entity, or a ritual. And when I say spell, entity, demon, or ritual, it depends on the demons that they called upon to harvest the energy from a person. It depends upon the ritual. When I say the ritual, it can be everything from a beauty spell to a money spell. It does not matter, okay? It can be even just to make a person physically feel more well. Let's say that you're sick and something's wrong with you, something's going. I'm sorry about that. I had to cut to see what was going on. I don't know much about this Apple computer stuff still. I use a certain amount of things, so I seen some stuff where I was like, let me check that out. But I apologize for that. But it's to power up, whether it's an anti-beauty spell or a spell to just feel more physically well. Let's say that you have cancer or something like that. You can do these rituals to suck out the vitality of another person and it gets transferred to you. Yes, this is a real thing. There are two types of energy harvesting that I know of. One is sex magic, which is the most common. Um, every time you have sex with a person, you actually doing sex magic. If you know how to redirect that energy, you can use it to manifest and to uh, power up spells. So yeah, sex magic. What is sex magic? Clearly sexual magic. Doing sexual acts for a ritual. The type of energy harvesting sex magic that I know of, you can take an article of somebody's clothing, a piece of their hair, bodily fluids, anything like that, and while you're doing the act of sex, you can use that by saying an invocation or a spell, or you could take a picture of a person and you can jack off to that person's picture, and that's actually a form of sexual energy harvesting, just like pornography. You know what I mean? All of that energy can be used to power up a ritual. And another part of sex magic is to invoke incubus and succubus spirits. So let's say I'm having sex with a dark magician and they invoke some kind of spirit of lust or entity like a Lilith or a incubus or a succubus, right? When they call on that entity's name, that entity will take my spiritual energy from me while we're engaging in an act of sex, and that powers it up. And that entity that lies within that person's vessel, it will be able to use the power of that entity. So you is from you to the entity to the vessel that's calling upon the entity or powering up the entity, and they can use that to power up beauty spells, glamour spells, money spells, popularity spells, anything, energy spells, just to feel better. They can use it through sexual magic. The other one that I know is invocation. Now, this depends on who you go to and what pantheon of magic that they use. Different cultures have different types of magic for energy harvesting. There's not just one. You can put somebody's, it's much like voodoo, for example. If I put your hair or something like that on a voodoo doll and I say that, okay, this voodoo doll is of this person, I have a part of your life force on that voodoo doll. So that's my linkage to you and your DNA, and that's my linkage to your soul. Now, if I start speaking invocations, uh, I want your energy. I stick pins here and there that will allow me to harvest your energy. That's the most simplest one that I can kind of think of to show you and to tell you about uh, invocation energy harvesting without sexual intercourse. Or I could put you on an altar and I could say a certain spell or a certain invocation, and I can call your energy towards me using a various set of herbs and candles. But the best forms of energy harvesting that are the most powerful, that work the best, are those where you call upon a spirit or an entity or a jinn or a demon of any kind in order to harvest the energy, because they can take out more than what you could do just by yourself. When you call on these higher forms of magical hierarchy or lowarchy, depending on what you believe in, when you call up on these vessels, they serve as a bridge between a higher power up. So they are the bridge between physical reality and 5D reality. They rule not only in the physical 3D realm, but they also rule in the 5D realm. And it's just better if you use one of those entities, because they take out a lot more than you could just putting somebody's picture on your altar or something like that, or even using hair and toenail clippings and blood and spit and stuff like that. Okay, so invocations are more serious, and usually they call up on an entity to do those, and they call up on different entities depending on the pantheon of magic that they use. If it's Santa Muerte, whatever god or entities that they use. You know, if it's uh Croatian magic from the Lesser Key of Solomon, whatever jinns or entities are in that form of magic. If it's Satanism, whatever Azrael, Beelzebub, all these other things that they call upon, those can be used. So it depends on the set of knowledge. If it's African witchcraft, uh, it depends on what you're calling on, what spirit you're calling on. Certain herbs in African magic have spiritual it's basically a spiritual energy, just like the spirit of alligator pepper. Yes, Even though it's an herb, it is a spirit. It is actually an entity. Yeah, you can use it to eat, but you can also use it to invoke because there is a magical being connected to it. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you a better example of that. Those are the two types of energy harvesting: sex magic and invocation of spirits that I know of. How does it feel? When it's being done, it will feel like life is draining out of you, literally. Um, the more powerful forms where they've called on the entity of some kind, it will feel like something is hovering over you. And then it will feel like really like life is bleeding out of you, like something is literally sucking something out of you, and you can't explain it. You just feel drained, but you can feel it draining you, trickling out, little by little, bit by bit. But it will feel like there's, if in physical terms, if there was a man or a woman standing over you and they're pulling something out of you, back to back to back to back. That's pretty much how it feels. And you'll know that this has happened because you'll start to get weak. You'll start to get debilitated. You might not want to move. You might not want to get up. You'll start to feel chills, cold, shakes, things of that nature. And when you wake up the next morning, you'll feel physically drained. You will have headaches. You'll be tired. You won't want to get up. You won't want to do anything. You'll be overcome with the spirit of lethargy, and that's because you've been drained of your vitality. It's not because you're lazy or anything, or you didn't get enough rest. You literally have been drained of your life force. So understand that. It's just a horrible feeling, and the next day it's just you're sore. You got headaches. You tired. You don't want to do anything. And it's unexplainable. It comes out of nowhere. It casts over you like a dark shadow out of nowhere because energy harvesting is a baneful practice. Like I said, you are literally sucking the soul out of somebody. You're sucking life out of somebody else in order to feed a demon or an entity or to boost or power up a spell. Okay. The mental effects of those who do it, okay? Because energy harvesting is, it's like, take me for example. I'm not a demon, not that I know of. I'm not a jinn or an entity of any kind. But when somebody sips my life force out of me, that's kind of like invoking a soul inside of their spirit. You know, your body is a vessel, you already have a soul, but when you energy harvest, it's like taking a part of somebody's soul, the same way that you would channel a demon or a jinn or an entity in your body to be a vessel in order to use. It's the same thing, but in a lesser form, because I'm not a spirit, because I am an actual human being. Now, because this is actually a baneful practice, why? Because it's slowly killing somebody. That's why it's a baneful practice, because it puts people, it physically drains people's vitality to the point where you can have physical illness. You can physically start to become sick because you don't have the spiritual energy that you need to protect yourself. You don't have the power that you need in your body in a physical sense, in order to protect yourself against certain illnesses and things of that nature. So it's baneful because you're sucking the life out of a person, and then on top of that, it's just like it's negative because you are invoking a piece of someone's soul inside of you. That's why it's dangerous. That's why it's bad. And people who usually do this stuff, they suffer from a lot of psychological defects. They suffer from a lot of mental illness and personality disorders. That's why they one day it's like, oh, I'm like this, and then the next day I'm like that. They start to have multiple personality disorder because they allowed their self through energy harvesting to be a vessel for a piece of somebody else's soul. They'll start to walk like that person, talk like that person, act like that person, do things like that person, even try to have the same ideas as that person. Okay, and you can see it in their everyday actions. Now imagine that if you energy harvest on one person and you go and do that to five, six, seven other people, you have the personality of five, six, or seven other souls that you're harboring within you. And that's why these people have mental deficiencies and mental defects and mental illnesses, because they are allowing people's soul to be a vessel in them. You don't know what somebody got going on. You don't know what somebody's going through. You don't know the trauma that they've been through. You don't know how their mind works. So when you start trying to take their vitality and their life force and a part of their soul, you're allowing whatever mental illness, whatever pain, whatever trauma, whatever sickness that they have to come and be a vessel within you. Yes, why it may power up a spell. Yes, it may give you vitality. Yes, it may make you more popular or more beautiful or things like that. You will suffer from multiple personality disorder, because you are allowing people's soul to come inside of you and be a vessel in order to harbor their energy. You are tethered to that person, if that makes sense. Okay? So you will suffer from mental illness. There's no way that you can't, because it's a soul concept. It's not just a physical one. um Please excuse me for the pause. I'm just trying to get professional with this, you feel me? How to protect against it. First and foremost, once you start feeling it, and especially if you know you are under magical attacks, energy weapons, or in things of that nature, you need to get up. You need to wake up. You don't lay there. By any means, do not lay there. One way you can combat this is by saying a prayer, like Psalms 23 or something like this. Another thing you can do is saging yourself or cleansing yourself, by any means. If you need to take a shower, that's a form of cleansing, because water is in fact a spiritual tool. It's a variant of a spiritual tool that we use every day. Water is a purifier. So you can get up and you can take a shower again, or you can sage yourself, you can palo santo yourself, you can say a prayer, okay, and things of that nature. This is the best way to reroute it. Another way you can combat it is to call your energy back, because it's a form of divination, because the words that we use each and every day can be a form of divination. That's why we spell words. Why do you think it's called spelling? It's a spell. Spelling. Spell. You are spell casting when you write something down. This is why signs, symbols, and sigils have such powerful effects, because they are a part of scrying. They are a part of casting. A pen is a wand. Understand that. So things we do and say have tremendous power, especially when it comes to magic. Just like lying is actually a form of magic, baneful magic, because you can manipulate and distort consciousness through lies. It's a form of word magic, okay? But yeah, those are ways that you can kind of sort of get rid of it. Call your energy back to you, and you call it back to you anyway. You can say that this is my energy. It is not yours to use. It is not yours to have. It is not yours to keep. It belongs to me. You can also poison that energy. You can say that I hope my energy poisons the thief that's taking it. May it not be of use to you or of service to you. Because it's your energy, you have dominion and dictation over it. And even though it might get drained from you, you might be tired, eventually the side effects will wear off, and that magic, whoever called on it, they won't be able to manifest with it regardless. Even if they did the spell, they won't be able to get anything from it that they thought that they were going to get from it, because you called your energy back or you combated the practice during the actual act. It's always better to use multiple forms of combatants against these things. Like I said, you need to wake up and take a shower if you can. You need to say a prayer if you can. You need to light a candle, a reversal candle, if you can. You need to call your energy back to you and say that incantation if you can. It's your energy, it's yours to have, yours to hold, yours to keep. May it poison the thief. And when you speak those words, when you say that spell, okay, it casts off right back into the ether of the universe, and the command has to be followed, because most times when people do energy harvesting, if it's not of a sexual nature, and when I say a sexual nature that you've allowed, sex is an energy exchange. If I have sex with somebody and they take a part of my energy, I allowed that because I had sex with them, okay? But if, let's say, somebody's jacking off to my picture and doing this form of magic, that ain't it, boss. You didn't ask for my energy. You tried to take it. So that's why it's a baneful practice most times. Um, because people don't use it for good things any fucking ways. They use it for crazy stuff like, oh, I want to be prettier, or oh, I want to make more money, or oh, I want to seem this way, or oh, I want somebody's ideas, or oh, I'm sick and I'm dying and I need somebody else's life force. Okay? But those are ways that you can kind of combat it. Candles, prayers, cleansing of any nature. And uh there's not too much that I can say on this. It's more so a spiritual concept, and there are people who go much more in depth, but those are basically the basics of it, which I wanted to get down to. And the spiritual nature of it is to drain you of your life force, and the ways in which people do that are many, are numerous, are varied. uh, just like if somebody is harboring a demon within them, they've called on a demon of some sort, uh, they can annoy you. If they can get you angry or upset, that opens your layers, your 7 layers. That opens your 7 layers for that demon or entity that's working through them in order to tether to you, to suck the life force out of you. So that's why you got to be mindful of your mind. You got to be mindful of your anger, your sadness, your despair, your depression, and things of that nature, because people do use that and use entities that feed off of those things to still take your life force. My name is Ranikia Allen. I hope that made some goddamn sense. If it didn't, baby, I can't help you. There's other teachers such as Professional High Priestess who go much more in depth on this subject, and I will leave YouTube videos and clips that you can go to and see what's going on yourself to get a deeper understanding. Thank you. George. wait. Because this is America. You see this combat hat? I'm not even in the army. George. Thank you. Have a great day. Bye bye.
When your head hurts and you don't know what to do, I know a place for me and you.
What place is that?
Mentalhealth.gov.
Wow.
Let somebody help you with your head.
They can help me with being retarded.
If your head hurts and you don't know what to do,
I cry every night.
mentalhealth.gov is the place for you.
I'm gonna call right now. Thanks.
When your head hurts and you don't know what to do, I know a place for me and you.
What place is that?
mentalhealth.gov.
Wow.
Let somebody help you with your head.
They can help me with being retarded.
If your head hurts and you don't know what to do,
I don't know what to do. I cry every night.
mentalhealth.gov is the place for you.
I'm gonna call right now. Thanks.